Supplemental instruction is a certain model of peer academic assistance, and the model comes out of University of Missouri, Kansas City. And this model of assistance was really getting away from this idea of tutoring, where a student had to either self-identify or someone had to identify that student, say, oh, poor you need help. What she recognized was that there are just some courses that are tough. These are identified easily because they do have high rates of failure.
So supplemental instruction is peer-facilitated, active, student-led study sessions outside of class. They are voluntary, they are non-remedial, and they are not mandated. So students will voluntarily attend a session. They are 90 minutes and offered twice a week by each supplemental instruction leader. And in some classes, we have upwards of 18 sessions that are offered throughout the week per class. We offer supplemental instruction in large undergraduate lecture courses. And the students report that when they come into these large lecture halls, they look around and it looks like an amphitheater. They're afraid to speak out in class. And when they find out that supplemental instruction sessions are offered outside of class by their peers and their faculty member doesn't know that they're attending, that's another part of it, is that the attendance data are not reported back to the faculty member. We just use them to measure the program. They are interested in attending, and once they attend one session, they find that there's a community there where they can ask their questions. It's low stakes, so they can be wrong. They can ask for further clarification, and they're meeting with their peer group. One of the biggest differences between tutoring and supplemental instruction is the employment of wait time, where students will wait for the student attending the SI session to come back with an answer before proceeding with either sharing the answer, trying to break that cycle of dependence. And then again, when they receive an answer, they will wait and let the student think about the answer that they provided. They also check for understanding, and then they also make sure that they are redirecting questions. So whereas a tutoring session would include a point-counterpoint relationship, perhaps, if the student attending the SI session asked a question, as the SI leader, they would ask that person the question back, and if the student was lost, they are invited to look to their notes or their book. Everything is available to them. Our linear algebra class, for example, if a student asks a question about a matrix or completing a matrix to their SI leader, the SI leader would then say, well, how would you begin setting up that problem? And if the student was still lost, the SI leader would come back and say, well, why don't we flip to our notes to see how the professor began to do that?
The professor really has to want SI support. That's a key feature of it being successful, because that professor needs to say, I trust this student to tell you the right thing in terms of what you need to be doing to be successful.
Supplemental instruction works in part because faculty are not present. And although that sounds counterintuitive, students have a lower stakes environment. They are encouraged to be more playful. They feel as though they can make mistakes, try things out, and frame things a little bit differently than they would in the classroom.
I hear all the time from students that they like having the students speak their language. And it's no longer just the PhD who's talking up here, but they have someone interpreting that for them.
Supplemental instruction attendance increases when our faculty support the program and talk about the program early in the course and often.